I'm thrilled to have with us in our second segment, Travis Duda, who's the owner and graphic designer for Hunchback Graphics.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, welcome, Travis. Any company of any size today has to think about marketing, advertising, branding.
Sure.
You have played a pretty important role with a couple of developments that have really, I think, captured the energy and momentum here in the city. One is Polar Park. SeltzerTime official, Powwow Worcester. Why don't we talk a little bit about what Hunchback, the company that you started and created,
Sure.
what you do, and maybe talk a little bit about kind of some of the work in those areas.
Sure, I would love to. So Hunchback Graphics started like as a band. I was playing in bands, so I needed a reason to make money on the road. So I was making T-shirts for friends and MySpace pages and other digital marketing. At some point along the road, I realized that bands didn't have any money. I graduated college, quit the band, and decided to focus on businesses. I've been freelancing for about 10 years now, underneath the name, maybe even a little longer. But it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I finally made the leap. I was working at a civil engineering firm, doing their marketing, and really learning how to be quick. That in today's business world, a lot of these businesses need fast turnaround design to really compete against whatever in the marketplace.
Right.
So I quit the job, really fell in love with Worcester. I love what this city's doing right now. I love the people that are in this city. And so I just decided to focus in hard on that and trying to figure out, if you're really trying to make an impact in the city, you have to start by giving yourself away. So I found organizations like Technocopia and Powwow Worcester and volunteered through them just to really sink my teeth in and show that I really cared about the place. Through that, I've gotten a lot of opportunities through stuff like Polar Park, where I got to design the heart logo T-shirt.
Yes.
So they already had the logo in place, but Joe Jacobs from their organization came to me asking for a merch design, and that ended up blossoming into the heart with the laces and all that fun stuff. For Powwow Worcester,
I think I was an early purchaser of the shirt.
Were you?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
I was so excited. I was so I thought it was just going to be a T-shirt, and then they showed me the shovel, and then they showed me the sign, and it blew me away. I was like, really, you guys, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I want one of those shovels, Joe. And then, like for Powwow Worcester, I've done a lot of their marketing materials, a lot of their corporate communication, a lot of communication. To me, graphic design is about communication far more than it is about aesthetics. We are now inundated with all these types of marketing, and we're literally looking around right now and seeing a million things. So you're trying to capture attention, and then you're trying to get your message across in as clear and concise a way as possible. Good design helps you do that.
Yeah. And so you mentioned Worcester Pop-Up, Brickbox, JMacme. What were some of those other?
Yeah, so that's a project I just finished. I'm super excited to see those signs go up. The G. McDonough Arts Center, which is where the pop-up is, needed a logo, and that pop-up sign out on the side alley right next to that spider tag mural, it's just beautiful. Right. And I always thought that the logo they were using kind of conflicted with that beautiful sign on the side of the building. So I worked with Olivia Scanlon and the group over there on developing a series of 3 logos that represent each individual entity, but that kind of coalesce into one brand.
And so for our viewers, they might know the building as the old Telegram and Gazette building on Franklin Street.
Exactly.
WBDC acquired that building a number of years ago, cleaned it up with the brownfields issues where they used to print the newspaper.
Right.
Have turned that really into an incubation space, a number of businesses that are there, and now a performing arts space with the McDonough family from FlexCon, Jean McDonough, the matriarch, making a significant contribution. And there's going to be a black box theater now.
Yeah.
There's a pop-up, so you work to kind of coordinate the graphics and the logos so that there's kind of an integrated, holistic approach.
Exactly. Plus, they're going to do nice lit up signs. So we wanted these signs to work together and look nice together. So each one kind of is built on that neon look, and they are all built on the same typeface, and they look like a nice trio together.
Right, right.
I'm super excited.
And you've got Allen Court, that alley, which
exactly.
People want to bring alive, and that can be kind of an active space. And people also need to, that building isn't just Franklin Street, it's also Federal Street. So how it all kind of connects and feeds together really leads to the success of the businesses and organizations in there, including Quinsigamond Community College, which has a number of programs in there, but also to the success of the building and the businesses overall.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Plus, just making walkability. It's going to be fun to look at the neon signs. Who doesn't like the old diner signs we see all over Worcester?
That's right.
It's kind of like a nice throwback to that.
Yep, tip of the cap to the
Exactly.
throwback. So, you have to look at, there's a branding process, creative process. If someone, again, we want to do business, and if you want to learn more, hunchbackgraphics.com.
Exactly. Thanks
But
for the
when a
plug.
business knocks on Hunchback, look, we want people to use our chamber members. Someone comes in and says, I make widgets, I'm a lawyer, I provide services. How do you go through that process with a client?
Sure. Well, again, first thing we start off with is what their communication strategy is. What's the goal of the project? If they want to develop a logo, then we'll go through that process of figuring out why they came up with a name, what does the logo mean, and what is their business mission. We like to incorporate all those type of iconography or graphic elements into a design so that the logo itself speaks to what the client does far before they have to tell somebody. If it's something like marketing materials, we try to figure out what their message is, what's the goal of the piece. Typically it's a communication piece, so what message are we trying to get across, what do we want the viewers to do? And then from there we develop whether it's a brochure or maybe it's a direct mailer, kind of like a strategy of how do we get the people to do what we want them to. That's essentially what graphic design is.
Right.
And
so and I think it's important. It's not just a logo development. You look at a company's, organization's needs across kind of the spectrum.
absolutely.
How do they integrate? How do they project and complement each other? Because it makes no sense to go and have a logo if the logo isn't consistent with the signage,
Agreed.
isn't consistent with what you're mailing out. That's the whole idea of a brand development.
Very good. Yeah, the branding, it really just makes people feel comfortable. When they can recognize and they trust your work and then they see your logo or your whatever graphic elements on different things, they're already going to feel trust with that and they're going to feel connected with it. And then we have, as humans, we need to see things a few times before it really starts sticking in our brains. So 3, 4, maybe more, you see that logo around, you're going to start thinking about it the more times you see it.
And I think you answered the question that I was going to ask. That's why it's really important for companies. And again, most businesses and small business and medium-sized business owners, they're focused on delivering the product, making it, providing the service, making sure that it's done. How people identify with the company or even think about picking up the phone or emailing or walking in your front door, what you described is this visual piece. We become even more of a visual society. So it is in a company's interest, regardless of the size, to try to take some time aside and be proactive to think about this and engage with someone like you to say, hey, how can this is something that by making an investment, there'll be a return that I might not otherwise realize.
Good design is good business. And like we all hear the thing, don't judge a book by its cover, but we all judge books by their cover. Literally everybody out there is judging books by their cover. So good design helps get those readers to read your story.
Well, speaking of good design and good communications, we really want to encourage our viewers out there who are contemplating this or in business. Reach out to Travis Duda, who is the owner and the graphic designer at hunchbackgraphics.com.
Yeah, we'd love to talk.
All
Thanks
right,
for having
good.
me on.
Travis, thanks.
Appreciate it.